You're quick.
When I was your age, television was called books. And this is a special book. It was the book my father used to read to me when I was sick, and I used to read it to your father. And today, I'm going to read it to you.
Hello, I am the many-talented Mr. Jefferson, and I am coming to you hot off of placing third on the leaderboards for the new Princess Bride pinball table for Pinball FX. And I know I haven't shot my best game yet. I'm getting very close to hitting the wizard mode, and I love this table about as much as I love the movie it is based on, which I grew up with as a child of the 80s. Fred Savage was the main character on the hit show The Wonder Years, and he also starred in a movie-length Super Mario Bros. 3 commercial that co-ops pinball terminology called The Wizard. Yeah, as it turns out, nobody who is good at video games is referred to as a wizard. But before all of that, he played a significant role in one of the greatest adventure stories ever told. It had everything. The beautiful Robin Wright as Princess Buttercup, Andre the Giant as Fezzik, the Spaniard Indigo Montoya delivering some of the most quotable lines in any movie ever, unless they were the ones delivered by Wallace Shawn in the same movie as Vicini, and in the lead role as Wesley is the only Robin Hood with an English accent, Carrie Ills. This is a star-studded cast, but many of those stars were at the very beginning of their careers, and this is the movie that cemented their place in the hearts of movie lovers in a film that still holds up perfectly to this day, and the only possible way it could ever be acceptable to remake The Princess Bride would be to cast Fred Savage as the grandfather reading the book to his sick grandchild, with everything else in the movie staying exactly the same, to show that this is a timeless classic that has been passed down for a new generation to enjoy, because that is just how perfect this movie is. So here we have a classic movie from 1987, and it went all of this time without getting a pinball machine, and now it suddenly has two pinball machines made in the same year? Multimorphic came out with their own version of The Princess Bride with a hybrid physical virtual pinball table, which I'd love to try, but since I don't have a spare $3,000 laying around, it's a pretty good thing that Pinball FX has come out with their very own fully virtual table, which is the one I'm discussing in this video, because I had $6 to spare. If you haven't seen The Princess Bride, then you should really have seen The Princess Bride by now. I can't help you if you won't take an hour and 38 minutes out of your life to watch one of the greatest movies ever made. And if you haven't done that, why are you even looking at the pinball table? I mean, come on. For everyone else, let's get down to it. I love this table, and I had very little trouble understanding the layout. When I finally looked at the guide, it pretty much just confirmed everything I learned by looking at the art and the lights. The main modes of this table are what I like to call a tour of the table, which requires multiple hits on specific targets or ramps to start the mode. The modes on this table must be completed to start the wizard mode. There is no real shortcutting around learning how to make all of the shots on the table, but on the upside, all of the shots feel great. None of the ramps feel particularly narrow or difficult to hit correctly. I know I showed some crazy awesome loops at the beginning of this video, but the skill shot is the thing I usually talk about last. So hold your 4 white horses until the end of the movie, please. We're going to start at the bottom of this beautiful table with its storybook-inspired artwork and the 2 standard flippers and a generous ball save at the beginning of each ball. Above these 2 flippers are 2 fairly standard slingshots, which are perfectly positioned and angled to hit some of the drop targets we'll be getting into in a bit. Flanking those slingshots are 2 outer lanes, which are equipped with kickbacks, which are tied to the orbit shots, and 3 in lanes with rollovers that spell out swamp, which will light one of the main mode triggers. On this table, it is not unusual to have to hit the same target several times in a row to light a mode, and then a different target to begin that mode. And to start the Fire Swamp mode, you have to hit the upper right ramp after lighting all of the letters in Swamp. This is how you begin the mode. The ramps both lead back to the rollovers, so this is a very easy mode to start if you just mind your rollover management. I'm going to talk about how to complete the modes after talking about all of the shots on the table, because they often require multiple shots on multiple lanes and ramps, which I probably haven't discussed by the time I get to them, so it'll be easier to just talk about all of that later on. Moving up the table, they say love and hate are 2 sides of the same coin, and on this table that is true as well. On the left side of the table are the kiss targets, on the right side of the table are the pit targets. Finishing the kiss side mode will give you the table reward for this particular table. You start it by lighting up kiss and then hitting the sinkhole behind it. On the opposite side of the table is the Pit of Eternal Despair, which is one of the main modes, and you start it by hitting the pit behind the drop targets after lighting each of the letters. Continuing up the right side of the table, above the kiss drop targets, is the Spinner and Cavern Orbit, which leads to the pop bumpers in the Thieves' Forest. This can also send the ball to exit out either the left or right orbits after you hit the bumpers. It seems to alternate, and since orbit shots like kickbacks, this is a really nice place to send the ball since it can set you up for a number of other shots on the table. Next to the spinner is the captive ball target. This is used to light the trigger for the Cliffs of Insanity main mode, which can be started from the Dread ramp. To the left of the captive ball is the right ramp, also known as the Rhyme ramp. This ramp leads back to the left inner lane rollovers, and lighting it will trigger the Rhyme side mode, which can be started from the left ramp, the Dread ramp. This is a fantastic ramp for lighting Swamp, and it gets used to complete a lot of modes, so get real used to shooting at it. On the left side of the Rhyme ramp are the max targets to start the Miracle Max mode. Avoid hitting these until you've completed other main modes. I will get into why later. Above the max targets is the Thieves' Forest with a clear trail leading to the upper right flipper. This is where the pop bumpers are, and the ball will be sent back into play from either the left or right orbits, alternating between the two. To the right of the Thieves' Forest is the gate target, which is not the gate itself. It is the target that opens the gate. To the right of the gate target is the actual gate itself. It is useless unless the gate is open and the sinkhole is revealed, and the way to do that is to hit the gate target, not the gate. To the right is the Castle Inner Loop. This is used a lot during modes, and it also starts the Thieves' Forest side mode. To the right of that is the Poison Spin Disc. This is an interesting target as it spins. Hitting the spin disc head on usually won't do very much at all. You need to hit it either a little high or a little low so it can actually move and cycle the ball through the toy itself so you can collect rewards. Hitting this target also triggers a wine glass pop-up for a jackpot, so cheers. To the right of that is the Dread ramp. A very appropriate name for this ramp because once max is lit, I dread hitting this ramp. The ramp has two behaviors. Normally it will send the ball to the rollovers to help spell Swamp, but if you light up max, it will redirect the ball to the auto launcher instead, which is really annoying because that's exactly when you want to send the ball to the rollovers, so that you can start one of the main modes, which will earn you the money to pay Max. Spelling Dread by hitting this ramp will send a random award over to the spin disc to be collected. The right outer orbit leads into the Thieves' Forest bumpers, which will send the ball back using one of the two orbits, as I've said before, which is a really good way to set up a shot on the upper right flipper to hit the Thieves' Forest again, so that you can start the Battle of Wits mode easily. This upper right flipper can also be used to hit the Kiss target, Max, and even hit the Gate target. It is a pretty versatile flipper. And now that we have discussed all of the shots on the table, it is time to talk about the main modes. We're going to go in story order, and the first mode story-wise is Cliffs of Insanity. Shots to the captive ball will trigger this main mode. When lit, shoot the right ramp to start the duel between Indigo Montoya and Wesley. And you beat the mode by pressing the corresponding buttons in the heads-up display. It's a very easy mode to start because you can use the left flipper to shoot the ball straight up to start it, and it's a very easy mode to win. You have plenty of time to hit the buttons that pop up on the screen. The next mode in the story is Battle of Wits. To start Battle of Wits, spell Wits in the cross ramp to trigger the mode, and then hit the rhyme ramp to start. Answer 3 questions to poison cups, and then rotate the spin disc so the cup that is sitting closest to Wesley is one of the green ones. And then finally, it's time to drink, but oh no! That dirty Vizzini swapped your cups. Too bad, you chose to use the one poison you happen to be immune to. Time to start a multi-ball table prize tour. A prize tour is where most of the ramps light up for prizes. There's not much to it. Enjoy your points. After the Battle of Wits, Wesley reaches the Fire Swamp. Hitting the swamp rollovers will trigger the mode activation ramp. Shoot the Dread ramp to start the mode. Start by hitting any of the lit lanes, and then hit those same lit lanes while dodging flame spurts, which will act like temporary jet bumpers, and then do all of that while slowed down because you're covered in mud from falling into one of the lightning sand quicksand pits, and then finally keep doing all of that again while battling ROUSs, which are rodents of unusual size. You do not have to hit all of the rodent drop targets. They are really just there to block your progress, and once a path is clear, you can keep shooting that same path if you want to. Leslie is captured in the Fire Swamp and taken to the Pit of Despair. Start the Pit of Despair main mode by hitting all 3 pit drop targets, and then by hitting the ball into the sinkhole behind them. Congratulations, you have located the Pit of Despair where Wesley is strapped to the machine, which is draining all of the years left of his life. You will have to shoot the lit lanes like in the Fire Swamp, but with a twist. Very solid pop-ups will block the correct path, so I really hope you have been practicing your catch and cradle skills because you're probably not going to hit any of these lanes just by sheer luck. The first shot is really fast. You will want to shoot the orbit on either side just after the drop target pops up. They should be gone by the time the ball rolls all the way down to the flipper for the shot. The second shot sees the pop-up slow down a little bit, so the timing is to shoot just before the pop-up drops back down, and you should get past it pretty easily. And then the third shot is much easier, as you can shoot when the pop-ups have fully dropped down and hit the lane. If you are very lucky, when you start the mode, the ball will actually land in the upper right orbit, where it will be stopped by a pop-up, and will set it up for a very nice, easy upper right flipper shot into the Thieves' Forest, which will bypass the hardest shot in the mode, which is the first one, because there is no pop-up to block that path. The Miracle Max mode. So the good news is you rescued Wesley from the Pit of Despair, but the bad news is he's dead. The other good news, however, is you know where to find Miracle Max, who used to work for the king and can perform genuine miracles, but the other bad news is he doesn't work for the king anymore, and as a working class schlub, he requires money to perform a miracle. which is a bargain at only 65 coins. This is why you want to avoid hitting the max targets on the side of the rhyme ramp for as long as humanly possible, because once you have unlocked his mode, you will not be able to start it unless you have completed the other modes to earn enough money to pay for the miracle. And if you don't have the money, the ramp will capture the ball, remind you that you are broke, and instead of sending the ball to the right flipper like it usually does, it will send it to the auto launcher instead, where it will wind up landing on the left flipper most of the time, making it much harder to set up a right flipper shot. Unless you have been practicing your passing skills, which you probably should just for this reason. The max targets are really easy to hit accidentally while aiming at the castle gate target, or by rebounding off the pit targets, or when you're using the upper right flipper, so I wouldn't even worry about trying to light them up, as you will probably unlock the mode long before you actually want to. Once you have the money and the mode is triggered, shoot the dread ramp to start the mode, and then pick what kind of miracle you want. You can get a ball save, kickbacks, or a big score, with each miracle requiring different ingredients, so they scale in difficulty, with the big score being the hardest version of the mode. Hit the lit lanes and then hit the rhyme ramp to stir the potion a couple of times to complete the mode. Miracle Max is the most pain in the ass mode on the table, and it's only because it's so easy to trigger it way too early. So I'm going to need to give Miracle Max a little redemption at the end of all of this, because I don't think I've made him look very good just now. Once you complete the Cliffs of Insanity, the Battle of Wits, survive the Fire Swamp, escape the Pit of Despair, and perform a miracle, it's time to storm the castle, which is the wizard mode of the table. Shoot the sinkhole behind the castle gate to start the mode, with the goal of defeating Count Rugen and saving Princess Buttercup. But first, you need to defeat Rugen's men in the courtyard by shooting the guard drop targets. Then you have to shoot the spinner to open the gate, and only then can you breach the castle and defeat the six-fingered man. Once Inigo Montoya has gotten his revenge and Wesley has rescued Princess Buttercup, Fezzik arrives with 4 white horses, and a multi-ball begins, similar to the Battle of Wits multi-ball, where you get the prize tour of the table, with most shots serving as jackpots. The side modes for this table are the Thieves' Forest, which starts from the mini orbit. Hit the bumpers to finish this mode. This side mode may be more of a pain in the ass than the max main mode, because it's very easy to start and it will block progress on other modes you might be trying to start, like lighting the letters of KISS to attempt a table award. And like max, it's just so easy to start on accident because that mini orbit is used quite a bit on this table. The kidnapping side mode starts after knocking on the castle gate target and hitting the castle sinkhole. Shoot the spinner to complete this mode. The kissing main mode is the table award mode. Collect all letters of KISS to drop the targets and hit the sinkhole to begin this mode. Random lanes will light up, and each successful shot on a lit lane will light up a letter of As You Wish. When all 9 of the lights are lit, a prize is awarded. This is not an easy mode to finish. For the rhyme side mode, shoot the left ramp to collect the letters in rhyme, and then hit the right ramp to access the mini playfield. Hit the lit targets to score points and annoy the ever-loving shit out of Vizzini. The eel multi-ball side mode also starts at the castle gate sinkhole, and you need to lock 3 balls in the castle gate sinkhole to start multi-ball, and then you just hit ramps for jackpots. It's pretty straightforward. Other than that, hitting the bumpers will raise multipliers as high as 12 times. Hitting the orbits, again, light the kickbacks. Your dread ramp will light the spin disc for a random award, which includes ball save, light extra ball, hold multipliers, raise multipliers, kickback, and just like a flat out score, extra balls can be collected at the castle sinkhole. Those extra balls on the table will come from completing the wizard mode, completing 3 main modes, raising multipliers past the 12 times maximum, a random award from the dread ramp, or from completing all of the side modes. Good luck on that one. And then finally, we come back around to the very first thing you're going to do on the table, and that is launch the ball. You can get a skill shot by launching the ball with just enough force that it lands in the Thieves' Forest. However, you can also attempt to shoot the Thieves' Forest by using a little less force in sending the ball to the upper right flipper for a better skill shot reward. However, if you manage to hit the path perfectly, the ball will loop back to the upper right flipper and set you up to make the same loop over and over and over again. And this skill shot will award a super, a mega, a multi, and a monster skill shot award. And you can start this table with an insanely high score right off the bat. We're talking about the same score you would get by finishing multiple main modes. And you can do this for every single manual ball launch, making this quite possibly my very favorite loop in all of Pinball FX. And that's the Princess Bride table. I absolutely love this table. I think the artwork is fantastic, and it's really in theme with the storybook motif of the movie. I like that this table has trivia, and the sword fight is the same kind of lightsaber mechanics we see in the Star Wars table. The Battlestar Galactica style side drop targets are a real pain in the ass to hit, but I really like them anyway, and the table has a very nice flow and rhythm to it, as I can often just chain shots around the table in a very, very satisfying way. And the only real problem I have with this table is that Miracle Max redirects the ball every time after his mode is triggered, unless you have the money to start it. And I would say this makes it unintentionally much harder to start those modes, but then I realized every single mode can pretty much be started from the left flipper almost exclusively, excluding the Battle of Wits, which requires the upper right flipper, which can also be accessed by shooting orbits from the left flipper. You can capture and shoot the ball straight up to hit the captive ball target to start the sword fight, shoot the pit targets for a pit main mode, or shoot the orbit to hit the Battle of Wits. And really the only main mode it's harder to start is Swamp, because the dread ramp just won't lead back to the rollovers anymore when Max wants to get paid. Alright, speaking of Miracle Max, I said I was going to redeem him a little bit at the end of this, so here we go. In the movie, Max is presented as kind of a snake oil salesman, an absolute con man who tries to extort all of the money our heroes have left for a pill they don't even think will actually work. And before preparing the pill, he gives them the hard sell by claiming Wesley's greatest reason for living is to blave, which is to bluff or to lie. But then his wife comes in screaming that he's a liar, and Wesley actually said true love. What if I told you Max was actually right all along? When we meet Wesley again in the story, he is the Dread Pirate Roberts. He spends most of the early part of the movie deceiving one person after another. Fezzik and Indigo both act honorably and are met with that same honor, but Wesley bluffs Vicini into a contest that can only kill Vicini and not Wesley, and then he continues to bluff Princess Buttercup into believing he's the man who killed himself, while testing her loyalty to him to see if she is worth rescuing. And then after visiting Miracle Max, Wesley comes up with the plan to use the cloak, fire, and the Dread Pirate Roberts' reputation to bluff the guards into retreating from the front gate. And finally, when he confronts Prince Humperdinck, he uses every last ounce of his strength to bluff the coward into submission, because he could not actually win a duel at that point in the movie. He was still mostly dead. Not only did Miracle Max bring Wesley back to life, he also correctly stated that Wesley is a man who lives to bluff others. You do not get that good at lying without practice, but the ultimate reason for all of his lies was so that he could achieve his ultimate goal, to finally return to his one true love. Miracle Max was not wrong, and he did nothing wrong. Like, could you really put a price on a pill that will literally resurrect the dead? He even threw in his cloak at absolutely no extra charge because Fezzik liked it. And maybe he sensed it would be needed to bluff the guards to rescue Princess Buttercup, since Miracle Max can apparently also see the future to some extent, but I still don't like it when he redirects the ball back to the launcher. So that was the Princess Bride Pinball FX Pinball Table Guide. I am the many talented Mr. Jefferson, and I am not sponsored by Pinball FX. I just love the game, and I would really appreciate it if you would, possibly like or subscribe. That way these videos can just sponsor themselves. I do want to thank my viewers, my subscribers, and my channel members, and the rest of my actual sponsors who are really just normal viewers like you, who have donated to the channel so I could get all of these pinball tables and the other games that I stream and review on my channel. I used to play Jackbox on Fridays, but one random player had to go and ruin that experience by just being a total jackass, so I had to change my Friday nights to Wizard Weekends, where I play pinball and set up weekly pinball tournaments. So if you enjoy pinball, that's a good thing for you. It's kind of a win-win. Pinball is an inherently social activity, so it seemed like a good replacement for Jackbox, which was meant to be a community game night that everybody could participate in. Pinball FX is free, and there are 3 great tables included, and if you're trying it out for the first time, don't get too upset if you're terrible. It takes a little bit of time to figure out how to play, but when you do, it's a lot more fun. Trust me, I sucked last year when I started playing this game myself. I will be back to look at more tables soon. I plan on doing Goat Simulator next, and I already wrote the Texas Chainsaw Massacre guide. I just never got around to recording it because I was also busy researching all of the Pinball FX Williams tables at the same time. Yes, all of them. There is a good reason I can suddenly start hitting wizard modes, and it's because I've been hitting the entire Williams collection really hard since the last time I made a pinball review, so expect me to start putting those out in the very near future. So until I see you in another video or stream, it's time for me to go back to research. Toodles!
Since the invention of the kiss, there have been 5 kisses that were rated the most passionate, the most pure. This one left them all behind.
Grandpa, maybe you could come over and read it again to me tomorrow.